Welcome back to my studio. This is Colleen with Designs of Value Art, and today we're going to talk about watercolor paper. Being a botanical watercolor artist or a still life watercolor artist, or even if I were doing landscapes, I would recommend 100% cotton. With our water in our watercolors, it needs to be able to absorb the paper the same time and time again. And that's what 100% cotton will do for you. You know that when you put your water glaze down and add your color, it's going to look the same from petal to petal, from leaf to leaf, from still life object to still life object. That's the importance that you have in 100% cotton. And there's many different brands, many different styles, and I've been kind of branching out a little bit and trying a couple different watercolor papers. I deal quite a bit with Dick Blick, as you can see, and this is their watercolor block. This one is a hot press. It's 100% cotton, and the difference between the cold press with this one and the hot press with this one has a texture to it. When I was a oil painter, or I still am, but I'm not doing it very often these days, there is always what we call an eggshell finish. So you get used to having that texture and it grabs your paint. So I was used to this type of a background or cold press. I like that texture. So that's my favorite choice. You have to figure out what's your favorite choice. Now this is the hot press by Dick Blick. It is 100% cotton. I won't paint an entire project on anything other than 100% cotton because it just is a totally different type of paper. And a lot of times when you're starting out new, you want to save money, and I get that. But paper is not the place to do it, and brushes is not the place to do it. You want to get the very best that you can afford in watercolor paper. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Dick Blick, you can go right into, I think it's blick.com, and just type in watercolor paper, watercolor blocks, and I'll show you the difference. This one was a block as well, but and their product here is much less expensive too. Now this first one that I showed you was 300 pounds, the heaviest watercolor paper out there. So I like to use this for a really important project that I'm going to be doing. If I'm doing a consignment, that I'll use the 300 pound. This one is 140. It is a hot press. I have absolutely zero texture. It's nice and smooth. But being 100% cotton, I'll be able to deal with my water the same way I do with the cold press. It'll work just fine. Now this is a company called Fluid, and this product is made by Speedball, and you've probably heard that name in the art world quite a bit. And this is Fluid 100 because it is 100% cotton. This one is a big one, so I apologize. It's 12 by 16. This one's a cold press finish, and I'm right in the middle of taping a rosebud on that one, so that'll be really lovely. And this one is a little bit different. These first two have glue on their block all the way around. This one has glue just on the top and the bottom. So when you're adding water on the sides, you have to be cautious because that can bubble. But you could always tape it down if you wanted to, if you needed to. All right, now this is Fluid as well. And this I also get right on Dick Blick. And this was a cold press finish. It's an 11 by 14. It's a 300 pound, so it's heavy. And it has a nice texture to it with that cold press. I usually do just tape down the edges on this one. I won't tape down the whole thing. I've noticed on the fluid that if you tape down the entire edge, some of the paper actually comes up with that tape, even when you use a low tack tape, which is all I normally do. So you got to be careful. You got to kind of play with these papers just to see, and I'll show you it's a little pouch that this comes in, and then the papers are like this, and they're just individual, but see how heavy that is? It's like a cardboard with that 300 pound, which is really nice. All right, so we'll put that one away. And then this is another way that papers will come. I got 3 Labradors in my house, and I always have black hair on something. This is Arches 100% cotton paper, and it's 140 pounds, so it's a little bit lighter. But this is like a booklet. It's not a block where it's glued all the way down and around. You would take this page off and then tape it down. But this is a good product as well. I like this product too. So you've got many different choices. Now if I'm doing something where I'm just going to be testing a color to see which color goes best with another color or something on that order, or if you're doing a little, like this was a pink peony that I had started, and I wanted to keep track of my colors before I put it on my sheet to be saved, I can use it for this. So there's a lot of different reasons that you could buy this cheaper paper. Do not plan on painting a project on this paper because it's just not going to give you the results that you're looking for, and you'll become. Have you ever wanted to paint in watercolors? Hello, this is Colleen with Designs of Value Art. In our watercolor classes on Patreon, we cover techniques such as wet into wet. This is your foundational technique, adding details, second color glazes, dry brushing to build up value, and of course the basics, transferring the design, erasing to lighten the transfer, masking to save the whites, water glazes, choosing colors. We have a step-by-step painting process that makes painting in watercolors enjoyable. We will teach you skills that last a lifetime. Come join us today. I do normally tape those down to a board as well, because I don't, and the reason that I wear a glove when I paint is I don't want to get the oils from my hands on my paper. So if I have just the paper and I'm picking it up and turning it around like this, I'm getting my oils from my hand on that paper. So you want to be very cautious with that. It's important to keep your paper clean. And especially if you're going to be doing a background, because if you're picking that up, moving it around quite a bit, your oils are going to be on that paper and the watercolor will not adhere in that area. So it's important to be cautious of that. So the next project we're going to do together is transfer a design. See how I do that. And we'll get started on that in just a moment. I'll be right back with you.